It's shocking for somebody like me who chose to go into public life a long time ago. The most unbelievably shocking period I've ever could have imagined. And if somebody had written this script as a matter of fiction and delivered it to somebody 8 years ago, nobody would believe it. Nobody would believe that the president tried to privatize Social Security. Nobody would believe that AIG and massive institutions that we had trust in were all failing because of the literally sort of walking away from the regulatory structure that had been set up for years by Republican and Democrat alike to try to guide behavior. When Alan Greenspan goes before a committee, as he did a few months ago, and says, well, we made a big mistake. We put too much faith in the ability of the marketplace to regulate itself. A lot of us scratched our heads. And so I said, where were you? Did you forget about Teddy Roosevelt and trust busting and all of the struggles that we've been through for generations to try to have a balance in sort of regulating behavior of people who are greedy, people who break the law, people who don't share a social concern, and so forth. So we're now inheriting the results of this remarkable period. You are, personally. And I regret it enormously. It is painful to watch the pain that people are feeling and suffering as a consequence of the abdication of responsibility. And so we face a set of challenges unlike anything that we have faced since the Great Depression. The failures that we have witnessed are as significant as the failures of the Great Depression. We haven't yet reached the levels of unemployment, but there are many people who are predicting the possibility of reaching 10% unemployment levels and above. Now, obviously, we're going to do our damnedest not to let that happen. And the virtue of having elected Barack Obama and 8, I think it is now, 7 additional senators, yet to be determined, 2 races, one tonight and the other in a recount out in Minnesota. The difference it's going to make is that we now have more House members. We have 57 or 58 United States senators. And so the bargaining for those 2 extra votes in order to be able to do things is going to be much easier than it's ever been in the last time, the entire time that I've been in the Senate. When I came in the Senate in 1985, we had 57 senators. And we started a downward slide. We went as low as 43. And we have climbed back from 43 in the last several elections. We got to 51 in 2006, 51 on a really good day, depending on what Joe Lieberman felt like, someone else. And so this was very tough for us to do your business. And a lot of people would come up to me and say, well, Senator, what the hell's going on? We voted for you in order to end the war, get the troops home, or we voted for you in order to have health care. And we'd have to look at people and talk process. Process. Sorry, but we can't do it unless we have 60 votes. And so they would filibuster time and again. We had over 90 filibusters. More filibusters than at any time in the entire history of the United States of America and the United States Senate. By twice. Now our prayer is that we're going to be able to actually have the great debates that you deserve. That means mostly initially focusing on the economy. And the key to that, I'm going to leave it for a lot of questions, but the key to that is going to be getting money into people's hands again so that people can actually buy a home, buy food, pay their bills, and so that the food chain, up and down the economic ladder, people are actually able to function. You know, a lot of people sort of scratch their heads and say, well, wait a minute, you gave the bank $700 billion. Well, you know, we already, some of us at least, always said, it's not going to do any good just to give the banks money. If the banks don't look at a deal and say there's a reason to lend to this person. And in a contracting economy, where consumerism is diminishing, it's very hard for a business person to come to a bank and say, here's my business plan by which I'm going to pay back this money. And it's easy for a bank to sit there and go, tighten up and say, well, not right now, I'm going to wait. And then everybody's waiting. And when everybody's waiting, all all of a sudden that small business that relies on that line of credit in order to make the next order for the goods it wants to produce or pay the people currently working is struggling to be able to do so, and it can, and boom, you have just a huge cascading downward effect. And that's what we're seeing today. We have to break that cycle.